So let's go right out of the gate. Let's talk about some valuable things. Working out. What are some workout ideas? I know some of you guys need it. Let's raise this bad boy up. What are some workout ideas? I know what you're gonna want is the foundations. Let's stick with the foundations, Nick. What we gotta do is squats, lunges, push, pull, and twist. Those are the main exercises. Those are the main functions of the body. Remember, we don't want to focus on, this is a video I'm putting up later. You want to do squat, lunge, push, pull, and twist. I think there's one more I forget, but that's probably a more boutique, a more niche exercise. But squat, lunge, push, pull, twist. What are those? Squats, that's pretty simple. Anytime you're loading vertically, that's one of the foundations of exercise, and I think most people know that one. Lunging, what you don't realize is you need to have load vertical, and then you need to move it laterally. Side, front side, back to back, single leg type strength. This is something I'm super weak on, and if we can remember this, that's something I've purchased. I want to show you guys from performbetter.com, right? I purchased one of them big rollers stands that you do split squats on, and my intention is to go heavy. So the reason I got that idea is because I can box jump 57 inches, right? But single leg box jump, I can do like 18 or something like that. So it's not too uncommon, but my single leg strength is something that I want to be able to be explosive. I want to be strong on one leg. There's so many things I got to work on, and it's exciting. Squat, lunge, push, pull, twist. So we did the lunge. You got to have that load vertical. These are different days, of course. You want to do, you want to move it laterally. And whether that's you're causing resistance, like I'm imagining a resistance band on me, and I'm pulling it like a sled pull, that's a lunge, like you're lunging forward, but you're dragging a weight behind you. But more or less the squat, lunge, push, pull, twist, the lunge, I'm imagining a vertical load on you, vertical load like gravity, like that's kind of usually what we work with. And then you use it laterally. That's the idea. So yes, there is vertical load, but as you fall into that front lunge, is a little bit of a diagonal, right? As you fall forward, it is you're causing that mass to go forward. And eventually when you stop it, it returns to like a vertical load. If you can feel me on that. Squat, lunge, push, push. We know these, right? Bench press. These are the ones that people do the most of, honestly. And I need to work better on my pushing. But when it comes to bench press, dumbbell bench press, overhead bench press, pushing is all exercises that usually incorporate the elbow and they lock out. You can lock out these exercises, is why most people use it. Is why most people do it. But the problem is, so like a tricep extension, you can even push into that. That's a push exercise. Overhead press, everything, the shoulder. The shoulder joint doesn't necessarily lock out. It goes to like vertical, to where you're like down here and then it's vertical, like the load is just coming through your arm at that point. But your elbow for sure locks out. Anything you do pushing, imagine it. You lock out to the limit of the exercise. So these are things people focus on. But what they really should be doing, and when I mean they, I mean me, what we really should be doing, squat, lunge, push, pull. We need to do a lot more pulling. This is grip strength oriented. This is like true body strength oriented. And the problem with pulling, and what sucks and such a bitch about back days, squat, lunge, push, pull, we're on pull. These are things that don't lock out. It's about a pump, right? Your biceps, I would consider that a pull for sure. You're back in bicep days. So when you're pulling something, there's no joint that locks out. There's probably your spine flexibility. You know, when you're pulling, you could twist a little to get a little squeeze into it, but there's no lockout point. That's the problem. And so therefore, when you're doing pull exercises, it's about the pump. It's not about locking out or maximal load. What the squat, lunge, push, pull exercises are about is ton of reps, a shitload of reps, burning, a lot more effort, honestly. So I'm imagining someone bench pressing, and you lock it out. Great job. You benched, whatever it might be. You benched 500 pounds, new record, locked it out, and then you succeed. But with back exercise, it's subjective in a way, because your max bent over row with a dumbbell, it's going to be more rep oriented. It's going to be, you're not really doing one rep max with pull exercises. Now we can consider a deadlift a pull exercise. I think it's a lot more dynamic than that, so we don't include it in this specific segment, although it's huge on the back, huge. I have to say the number one. But bent over with a dumbbell, leaning on something, that might be one of my favorites. Just because you can pull it high when you're bent over, pull it high. So essentially you're pulling like a T, right? Like a T. I'm trying not to elbow the carbon ceramic heaters here, which I'm not leaning against because they'll burn me. It's 130 right now. And you should see my phone. I have it strapped to a ice pack, frozen but thawing, so the phone doesn't overheat. Anyway, we'll remember this on episode 5000. When you're pulling it to the body, you can pull it high, and you can work the traps. You know, those probably will take over, unfortunately. But the upper traps, the lats, you know, the whole shoulder girdle. When you're bent over, right, on the dumbbell, squat, lunge, push, pull. When you can pull it low by the pocket, and this is the one I suggest people do more often because I think this works more of the meat of the back. And I think with people's shoulder and shoulder girdle flexibility, if you don't pull it low, people end up like working only the top part. So, and when you pull it low, knowing that you have just tightness up here like everyone does, that's kind of like where we hold our stress and like depression, you know? It gets tight up there because we don't do back exercises. But the number one thing I suggest is always pull it low. Always pull it low and try to keep that shoulder low. Because I think we're just up here all the time, like tense. Keep it low. Try to keep that shoulder not so much engaged. Keep it low. Try to, when you're leaning on something, right? Pull on a dumbbell, a heavy dumbbell, but it's going to be more rep oriented. When you pull, there's no lockout. That's the trick. And I think the main reason why people don't get great back results, or people have back issues, or people have shoulder issues because their back is underdeveloped, or people hit a wall when it comes to your push exercises. Because if you would just, because your relative strength when it comes to your back and your push days and your pull days, you could go bench press. Wow, you're on a new level, but you don't ever work your back. They're connected by a string. Imagine that. So if your back level is down here, it's gonna your lacking back exercises are gonna keep your potential, right? Because it's all about balance. The way you're, imagine the brain, right? It's all, the nerves, they're all even. It's all symmetrical. But if you're not treating your body as a symmetrical, dynamic beast that you are, then, then it's not gonna, you're limited. You'll see a ceiling. You'll stop seeing results on your push days. You'll start seeing shoulder injuries. But if you would just relax on the bench days a little bit and bring up your level of relative back strength, then you have more room to grow when it comes to your bench days. Because relatively, it's all relative. Your back strength is now higher. Your tendons are used to an equal amount of use when it comes to push and pull, and will allow you a higher ceiling. Nobody ever does bench only, never back, and sees great results. You've got to have a balance, and if you don't have a balance, things will break down. You will see glass ceilings. You'll see limits in your potential, and I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. So let's keep it balanced and let's keep it beast. But the problem is we go beast on the push days and we go gentle on the back days. Okay, and it's got to be relative. Maybe you don't understand the true definition. Like some people think, no, I do go beast on my back days, but with a tendency to only do those lockout type exercises, and every exercise that's not necessarily a push day, but you're doing push-ups or you're just getting off the ground, you're always pushing. Very rarely are you pulling yourself up from anything. So just keep in mind that even though you think it's even, trust me, you need to do a lot more back exercises. And I'm 6'9" with even longer than that wingspan. And I've seen that the number one thing I should be focusing on as someone with long arms, 7 foot wingspan, something like that, 6'11". What the number one thing I should do with someone who's got those long levers is I should do twice the amount of pulling as I do pushing. And I definitely believe that. And who doesn't love a big back? You know, you turn around and it's different. I mean, you get those guys that are like little bowling balls. You got a big back naturally, so work with what you got. But in all honesty, most people have overdeveloped relatively. Not, you need to go much harder than you're going now, but overdeveloped push muscles, but they're never doing the pull. They're never doing the pull because it sucks. I'm telling you, it's a bitch. You got to do a ton of reps. You got to really kill yourself. Anytime I do a heavy pull day, I'm sore for days. And you can foam roll it or you can do whatever. My shoulders don't get as sore. You know, my chest does get sore. My triceps sometimes, but very rarely do those muscles get fatigued or sore. And that's probably on me. But because of that, I find myself doing more push days than pull days. Squat, lunge, push, pull, twist. Twist is huge. And one of my new favorites when it comes to your abs, your six-pack abs. Everyone's got them six packs, okay? Everyone's got them six packs. But what you don't realize is if you don't see the definition, first you got to get your body fat percentage low enough. But there are people out there who don't have their body fat percentage low enough, and they do have it low enough. You got your body fat percentage low enough where you could be seeing abs right now. And maybe here is the number one thing you need to do to see abs right away. Some people have low enough to where you could see abs right now if you would just do this trick. What you need to do is twist exercises and intense isometric exercise, like a plank, but not a plank where you're just on your elbows. You got to reach out. The farther you reach out, right, the longer your bridge is. So your elbows. You're looking down at your fist. That's pretty standard, like 90 degrees on the elbows. You're looking down at your fist. I want you to reach out. That's going to really get the lats involved. And the longer your bridge is, the harder it is for the middle once to cave in. So make it hard on yourself. I'd rather you do a 30-second plank, giving all your might, because you're reaching like a Superman plank. Go so extreme until you're only on the palms of your hands and your elbows aren't even touching the ground. You're an inch from the ground. I've done these before. It's been a while. And you're just shaking. And I'm good for like 15, 30 seconds, you know. And this one's gonna cause that. Okay, so the six-pack surface is covered by like the net, and it's just sitting there on the surface. But if we can teach it by repeatedly flexing at an intense rate or twisting, like with a cable chops, or what's another twist? I guess Russian twists, but those haven't seemed to be super effective for me. Cable chops. You get a cable exercise or resistance band at about waist level, you grab it and you twist. You know, I'll have to do a whole video on this because there's a lot of nuance on how to stand. That's really tricky. And you want to start light, get a bunch of reps, second set, get a bunch of reps, and you work your way up in that way for this specific exercise. But that net that's just sitting on your abs, it's just like a six-pack net. There's a above the abs, in between the abs. You know that the area where you want to see definition between the abs, you want that sunken in. It's like them balls, you know, the squish stress balls where it's got a net, and when you squish it, like a little gooey circle comes out and it goes outside the net. That's what we want your abs to do. But we need that net to tighten in into the body. So what that's going to do is your waist is tighter, but your abs will stay pronounced. Your abs are going to stay where they're at. They'll even get more pronounced because that's what happens when a muscle stands up. That's what muscle tone is your body remembering how to keep a muscle on. That's muscle tone, if we want to be honest. That's the definition of muscle tone. Damn, it's hot in here, boy. So I got to do a lot more of them cable twists, but that's the way to get your abs showing. Even a lot of you guys are at the appropriate body fat percentage, and that's easy as said as it is done. All you got to do is stop eating as much, burn more calories, and your body will start getting rid of your stored energy. We call it fat, but your stored energy. And once you've been doing that consistently, and you could do this at the same time, your body fat percentage on the stomach will get to a point where you could be seeing abs right now. You could have a ripped six-pack and have a higher body fat percentage than someone else. But the way that you need to make that happen is you got to get that net that's just sitting on top of your stomach, your abs, get it to sink in inward, get it to sink in from all angles. It sinks in, but only does that because we're flexing it and tensing it in an intense fashion. You know, a bunch of crunches doesn't teach that net to stay in. It might teach the top two abs to get more pronounced, but it's not teaching that net to get in. Ooh, side plank crunches, one of my favorite for this. It's just like a plank, but now you're bending at the hip and you're flexing those obliques. So if the net on your abs goes all the way around, what we want it to do is get tight, and therefore protecting your spine. So a healthy abs is a healthy back, healthy you, okay? That's what we want. But squat, lunge, push, pull, twist. Pull, squat, lunge, push, pull, twist. Lunge, underrated. I mean, not underutilized, you guys. We gotta get on it. Squat, lunge, push. You guys overusing that. I don't say let off on anything. I say all the other things need to come up. We're not about doing less or different. It's about doing more. So keep up what you're doing with the squats, the lunges, the push. Increase the pull by double your back days, and get some recovery in here. Get some foam rollers. Get somebody to massage that pain out of your back so you can get back to it quick. Get your diet in check. And don't forget the twisting, you guys. Don't forget the twisting. That's probably the number one thing you're missing. Like, you're not doing heavy cable chops. Look up cable chops. I'm gonna do a video soon, and I'm not where I want to be, but it's this one exercise can get you abs now if you start working on it. And extreme planks, like 15, 30 seconds. Stop doing 3-minute planks. 30 seconds of an intense interval. Hang tight for 30 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes, and then go again. It's like sprinting. It's a lot more effective. You can get it done in a short period of time. If you want them abs that look nice, this is my advice to you. Squat, lunge, push, pull.